Well, the Lakers' latest game gave us a lot to talk about. Whether you want to point to Luka Doncic dropping 41 points, Luka and Austin combining for 66 points, Lakers rookie Adu Thiero making his season debut, in fact making his Lakers debut in any capacity, either through Summer League, preseason, or the regular season, and he definitely did flash his potential while doing so. I actually made an entire video about that if you want a more in-depth breakdown. But I think something that's not been talked about enough was their kind of rotation combinations and the utilization of Maxi Kleber finally making a contribution to the rotation. You know, we've barely seen any of him this season, barely seen any of him in a Lakers jersey thus far, only playing in 3 games, including one playoff game in which he played 5 minutes of, that being their Game 5 elimination game to the T-Wolves last year, and throughout that brief time frame, he had not really showed very much, but that finally changed in their latest game against Milwaukee. Kleber coming off the bench to play 25 minutes, getting playing time simply due to Rui Hachimura not playing, Marcus Smart being out, and LeBron having yet to come back, but that gave Kleber an opportunity, and the Lakers an opportunity to finally get some value out of him, not simply with his expiring contract via trade, but actually on the court, which again, he finally was able to do for them. So with that in mind here, what did he show on the court? How was he so effective while only putting up 3 points? You know, the box score watchers and the stat line watchers will say he didn't do much for them, only having 3 points on 1 of 1 from the field, 1 of 1 from beyond the arc, which is where the 3 points came from, 1 made 3-point shot, pointing to the 5 fouls they committed. So with a stat line like that, 3 points, 5 fouls, 25 minutes played, the casual fan will simply say, yeah, he was out there doing cardio and not much else. Though that's not the case here. In my opinion, he played a great game for them, and no, again, it might not be apparent from the stat line, 3 points, 5 fouls, 25 minutes, but if you look a little bit deeper and if you actually go back and watch the game film, he was very impactful for them on the court. And well, I think we can point to it too. Whether you're talking about the plus-minus score with him, being a plus 22 in only 25 minutes on the court, I mean, even if you're incredibly lucky, you don't get that by doing nothing on the court. You gotta do something on defense, offense, or somewhere on the court to add value to a team if you're gonna have that kind of plus-minus rating. And well, that is reflected in the advanced stats too. If we want to look at their lineup combinations and which of them were the most effective in this game, 2 of them actually did contain Maxi Kleber, pointing to the combination of Maxi Kleber, DeAndre Ayton, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and Jake LaRavia, playing 6 minutes in this game during the second quarter, nearly the lineup they finished the second quarter with, one of which that helped them go on that 33-point lead that they eventually built over Milwaukee heading into halftime. And throughout that time frame, in the 6 minutes they played together on the court, they compiled an offensive rating of 141.7, absolutely off the charts, and yes, only in 6 minutes, but very impressive. A defensive rating of 38.5, absolutely insane and by far the best defensive rating on their team of any lineup that's played over 5 minutes thus far. And then a net rating of 103.2, yes, plus 103.2. Again, the best of any lineup combination that's played over 5 minutes for them thus far. And throughout that time frame, they barely gave up a single point to Milwaukee, not giving up a single field goal to them. That was part of the lineup that nearly held them scoreless for 8 minutes straight in the second quarter. DeAndre Ayton playing elite defense on Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kleber playing great help defense, even a few times matching up directly with Giannis, them switching on defense, Jake LaRavia doing some great help defense on the 3-point line, communicating well, and overall having a very different lineup than they have ever utilized before, aka kind of having the 2 big lineup approach here, with the combination of both DeAndre Ayton and Maxi Kleber. Something we talked about a lot prior to this season. Is Maxi Kleber going to be able to give them that combination, the 2 big look, him playing that 4 spot, that power forward spot, while either DeAndre Ayton or Jackson Hayes play that 5 spot for them? And well, we finally got a glimpse of it. Kleber playing the 4, Ayton playing the 5 here, and it actually worked for them too. And no, I'm not saying it's going to work in every matchup. I think a large part of them simply trying it out tonight was the matchup and directly facing Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know, the phrase of building a wall is often talked about when facing Giannis Antetokounmpo, having not only 1 big, but often 2 or simply a combination of some big physical defenders to kind of help build that wall against him, taking on the matchup and often even dishing out plenty of fouls against him, which can often pay off as he's not a great free throw shooter. That's what they did directly with the combination of Ayton and Kleber, and not to mention even Luka, Austin, and Jake LaRavia here too. They play great defense, and this 5-man lineup combination worked tremendously in this particular matchup. And heck, not only with DeAndre Ayton and Maxi Kleber, but with Maxi Kleber and Jackson Hayes too. Because after DeAndre Ayton left the game and Hayes came in to fill in for him, they kept Maxi Kleber in the game with him, then building a 5-man combination of Maxi Kleber, Luka Doncic, Jackson Hayes, Jake LaRavia, and Dalton Knecht, who then came in for Austin Reeves, finishing out the second quarter into halftime with them, then again playing a little bit during the late third quarter into the early fourth quarter, and once again a 5-man combination that worked greatly for their team in this matchup, playing 5 total minutes together. Again, not very much, but not too bad for a 1-game sample, compiling an offensive rating of 158.3, absolutely elite, and even a little bit better than the other lineup combination I mentioned, a defensive rating of 76.9, again absolutely elite, a net rating of plus 81.4, second to only the other lineup that's played over 5 minutes for their team. All around a very effective lineup in this matchup, again pointing to the 2-big combination of Kleber and Hayes together on the court, getting the floor spacing from Kleber, in which he knocked down his 3-point shot with this lineup combination, also playing good on defense, the rotation and the switchability of Kleber in this particular matchup, and something he might be able to carry forward, was incredibly valuable to their defense and simply their rotation and lineup building too. I mean, I for one was very impressed with Maxi Kleber. I had not seen him move like this since probably his Dallas Maverick days. Again, we've seen very little of him in a Lakers jersey, but he looked pretty damn good last night or in their matchup against Milwaukee. And simply put, more options are never a bad thing, and if they have the option to create a 2-big lineup, with either Kleber and DeAndre Ayton or Kleber and Hayes off the bench, I think that's a good thing for them. Again, directly showing it in this matchup might not work for every matchup, but if you face a team like Milwaukee with Giannis Antetokounmpo, maybe if you face a big team like Houston, you might be able to go back to it, and now you have a whole lot more confidence that it probably will work for you too, as we have direct stats to point to with it, have direct film to point to with it, their defense working very well together, whether it's Kleber and Hayes, whether it's Kleber Ayton, whether Luka is around him, both Luka and Austin, again pointing back to that first 5-man lineup combination that we talked about, it likely will and probably could work for them again. And directly showing this via the game film, you know, big shout out to DeAndre Ayton here. The guy played great on defense and really took on the challenge of defending Giannis Antetokounmpo, directly showing it here on this play and actually 3 plays in a row on defense during the early to mid second quarter, taking on the Giannis matchup. Giannis trying to drive past him here on this play, Ayton holding his ground perfectly, and I think even blocking, or simply getting a great shot contest on the shot attempt here by Giannis. And well, I think that did carry over to their next play, as Giannis took a different approach by not trying to barrel directly through DeAndre Ayton, who does have Maxi Kleber by his side here to build that wall that we talked about. Giannis not having a clear lane to drive to the rim and get directly through them, as he probably would commit a foul if he tried to do so. Instead, trying to pass the ball here to Bobby Portis, being defended by Jake LaRavia in the post. LaRavia gets the tip, and with not a whole lot of space to work with, as between Ayton, Kleber, Jake LaRavia, and Luka Doncic all in that same area, there wasn't much of a passing lane to get it to Bobby Portis, and the Lakers held up on defense, getting the steal and Luka Doncic making a great hustle play by diving on the court to get the ball. And then finally for a clip to show Kleber defending Giannis Antetokounmpo, here on this play during the mid-fourth quarter, as Milwaukee tried to mount their comeback, Giannis trying to get around Maxi Kleber, Kleber holding his ground very well, and after taking the right shoulder bump from Giannis Antetokounmpo, didn't give up much ground and forcing Giannis to pass the ball, rather than trying to finish it at the rim. So great individual defense here by Kleber, but simply pointing to the lineup combinations that worked with Kleber on the court, how his help defense affected either Giannis or the entire Bucks offense. I thought it worked very well for them, and again, this might be something that they can carry over to future matchups. Maybe not every matchup, but definitely more of them going forward than maybe we thought previously. And well, I think it's a great sign for not only Maxi Kleber, but for JJ Redick and how he was able to use Maxi Kleber, getting value out of him both offensively and defensively, something that I have to admit I was pretty doubtful of at this point, but he found a way to do it, and now Kleber might be a more valuable part of the rotation going forward than I think that many of us had probably hoped for at this point. And here's what Redick had to say regarding Kleber, getting him in the game after not being a part of the rotation, or really even a part of their team prior to this point in regard to getting on the court, and here's what he had to say.
Creating clarity for our team, and we were able to go out and execute that, and that's a credit to our guys. And the second thing is, like, Maxi Kleber has not been in the rotation all season. He's played in a couple blowouts. Knew he was going to be part of the rotation tonight. Guy scores, he makes one basket, but had a huge impact on the game with his physicality, his talk, and just what I would describe as what we want Laker spirit to be. Just being a great teammate. Had, on the court, the defense, the rebounding, the all the stuff that are winning basketball plays. He was a big part of that tonight.
Like I said, Kleber had not been a part of their team and definitely not part of the rotation prior to this point. Hadn't been able to get on the court, stay on the court, able to make an impact on the court in really any capacity prior to this game, but now this might have done wonders for himself and possibly for JJ Redick and his ability to build more complex lineup rotations in certain matchups going forward with them. So with that in mind here, what do you guys think about what Maxi Kleber showed, the lineup combinations they used against Milwaukee Bucks, their defense, and simply their different rotation look, albeit yes with no Hachimura, no Marcus Smart, no LeBron playing, and how they might be able to carry that over into future matchups as well. Let me know your thoughts and if this is simply a one-off thing or something that might have some sustainability. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.